Hi, this is Sharon, and I'm going to entertain you for a few minutes with some jokes that I hope will make you laugh as you're having to stay into your house, okay? I live for baseball, but I had to go to work during an important game, so I asked my wife to tape it for me. After I left the office, I flew through our front door, bursting with anticipation. "Don't tell me the score," I yelled. "Don't tell me the score." She said, "I don't know the score. All I know is that your team lost." Okay, that was a good one. All right? Okay. Two boys from the city were on a camping trip, and the mosquitoes were so fierce the boys had to hide under their blankets. Then one of them saw some lightning bugs, and he said to his friend, "We might as well give up. They're coming at us with flashlights." That's a funny one, okay? All right. Morris and his wife Esther went to the state fair every year, and every year they passed by this guy with an airplane that said $50 for an airplane ride. And Morris always turned to his wife and said, "Please, can we go on the airplane ride this year?" And she said, "No, $50 is $50. So every year would be the same story. And the man who flew the airplane saw this. And the very next year when they came by and he knew Morris wanted to go on the ride, he said to the couple, "Listen, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a free ride. It won't cost you $50 if you don't make any noise during the airplane ride." So Morris turned to his wife and she said, "Okay." So they got in the back of this old-fashioned plane that was open, and they're going up, and the pilot thought, "I'm going to have a little fun with them." So he did some loop-de-loos and some upside downs, figuring that, of course, they would make some noise. But he didn't hear a peep. And then finally the ride was over and he landed. And he turned around and only Morris was sitting there. And he said to Morris, "Where is your wife?" And Morris said, "Oh, she fell out a long time ago." He said, "She fell out? Why didn't you say anything?" "Why didn't I say anything? Because you said, if I said anything, the ride would cost us $50. And $50 is $50. Okay, all right? Okay. I started a new diet, and I altered my drive to town, avoiding passing my favorite bakery. But I accidentally drove by the bakery this morning, and there in the window was my favorite goodie. So I felt this was no accident, so I prayed, "Oh Lord, it's up to you. If you want me to have any of those delicious goodies, create a parking space for me directly in front of the bakery." And sure enough, he answered my prayers. On the 8th time around the block, there it was. About 5 years ago, the battery in my beat-up Volkswagen Beetle had died because I left the lights on overnight. I was in a hurry to get to work on time, so I ran into the house to get my wife to give me a hand to start the car. I told her to get into our second car, which was a prehistoric big gas guzzler, and use it to push my car fast enough to start it. I pointed out that because the VW had an automatic transmission, it needed to be pushed at least 30 miles per hour for it to start. She said fine, hopped into the car and drove off. I sat there fuming. Where was she? She was supposed to be helping me. A minute passed by, and then I saw her in the rearview mirror coming at me at 40 miles per hour. I realized I should have been a bit clearer with my directions. Okay? A woman took her little boy to the beach and her little grandson, and he was dressed so beautiful with a little hat to protect us from the sun, and she was sitting there, and all of a sudden a big wave came over the beach and washed the little boy away. She was horrified. She said, "Oh my gosh, God, how could you do that? Haven't I been a good woman? Don't I give charity? Don't I treat everybody nicely? You know, I've done everything that I can to be a good community citizen. How could you do this? How could you do this?" And she's going on, and then she hears this voice, "Enough, woman." And a big wave comes up onto the beach, washes away, and there's the little boy. And she looks at him and she says, "He had a hat." Okay. Here is my last joke for the day. There was a group of mice who died and went to heaven. And St. Peter met them at the gate and he said, "Mice, come into heaven. God wants to talk to you." So they came into heaven and God said, "Mice, I'm so happy to see you. Listen, this is the way we work up here. Take a few days, look around. We'll get back together in a few days and you'll tell me how it is." So the mice were up in heaven. It was beautiful. They were running around, plenty of places to crawl in and out, lots of cheese and goodies to nibble on. It was paradise. So they came back a few days later and God said, "So mice, what do you think of my heaven?" They said, "Oh my gosh, God, it's so wonderful. Cheese and places to crawl and things to climb up. We're so happy." He said, "I'm really great. Enjoy yourselves." A few days later, a bunch of cats died. And God welcomed them again and said, "Cats, welcome to my heaven. I want you to take a few days, look around, see how you like it. We'll get back together again." So the mice, the cats ran around and there was catnip and there was lots of food and the places to scratch and crawl. And they came back to God and he said, "So what do you think of my heaven?" And they said, "Oh my gosh, God, it's so wonderful. There's places to scratch, catnip, rolling around, and the best Meals on Wheels program we've ever seen." Oh. Okay, take care. More jokes next time. Bye.